Today we are going to do a lobster rice to celebrate our silver medalist Xiaobon Huggy. So she's been very active in the Hong Kong swimming history for a very long time. But getting a silver medal, in my heart, I think she's actually achieving the gold. So today we're going to do the lobster rice in an Italian style. So what happened is I've got a lovely and wonderful creature the other day, and I just steam it for like 30 minutes. Just let all those lobster juice to be saved for today's use. And at the same time, I put it in the fridge last night. So today, when I bring it out, so she still keep her beautiful color, and at the same time allow the making of the rice quite easy and quick. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some lovely ingredients which I believe everybody love. I have a garlic, as many as possible, as many as you like, and with 2 tails of chili. So these chilies are really burning, so what I'm going to do is I'm just using it to release the fragrance, and I will pack the rest of it back away from my cooking pot. So here I'm actually using a Chinese chopping knife for the purpose. Now this is the only time that you will see me using a Chinese chopping knife, because I do not love the heavy weight of it. I enjoy using sharp and lightweight knife. And here I found that taking care of the garlic with a Chinese chopping knife is perfect. So you see how I pick away the skin from the garlic easily. All I have to do is just squash it and take away the skin, and also take away the root from the garlic cloves. Now here I use it to deal with my 2 tails of lovely chili. Now be very careful, because they are really burning, they are really very hot, and unlike the other chili, so using just 2 tails is going to make your day. So don't try to be too aggressive on it. So now I'm using my Chinese chopping knife and to do the chopping and mince the garlic. Now I love to use the Chinese chopping knife in this way. So you can see that I use the front point as the hinge, and so I just use one hand to do the mincing of the garlic pretty easily. So now you can see me using just one hand, and I can mince the whole thing in a relaxed way. So maybe you would like to do the same. I don't know whether you have a Chinese chopping knife, but if you don't, well, any knife will do. But I just enjoy this part of the cooking show by chopping it in a very easy way. So thank you very much for being with me to chop up the garlic. It takes a little bit of time to do it, but it's going to be very relaxed, and the whole video is going to take just like 17 minutes, so no rush. So here I got my pan, my frying pan. Now this pan you're going to tuck into the oven, so make sure that the whole thing will not be melted in the oven. So I use this stainless steel one. Now going back to my lobster, so I have to use a sharp knife this time. So I'm going to put in my knife through the neck of this little monster. See how easy that's going to be. So you just put in your knife, the sharp knife, just slice in it, and slightly you can detach the tail from the head. Wow, see? It's so lovely and so meaty. Do you feel the water coming from your mouth? I do. and it is a perfect and clean way to take care of a lobster. So here I have the tail, so I will be like using a pair of scissors and simply just cut it up from the middle of the stomach. So you can do it in a very easy way, but the stomach is actually a very thin part of the shell, so it's easy to start from the bottom. So you can see me doing it slowly because I'm quite clumsy, but I'm okay. It's not that messy, to be honest, but I just do it slowly. I have no rush. So be careful that you will get hurt by the shell of the lobster, because they have a lot of pointed parts all over the body. So I must say one thing from my own personal experience, and also when I read a lot of books regarding to the Chinese way of looking at ingredients, food ingredients, lobster is one of those that's going to give you a lot of like protein without having too much cholesterol, and it is quite healthy. It is very meaty, but it's a bit tough and chewy. I don't call it tough, but better call it chewy. Now save each and every part of the shell for the doing of the lobster soup later on, but not in this video. Now it's easy. What you are going to do is to cut the meat according to your wish and according to the size, the bite size that you want. Just do it casually, because the meat now is already well cooked. So when you do the rice for this lobster rice, and that's it's going to be easy and quick, and all you have to do is to make sure that the rice will be done properly. But the lobster is basically boiled. Well, I don't call it boiled, better call it steamed and well cooked. Now just slice it into the size that you love. If you have kids, make it smaller, and if you have like elderly, you can cut it smaller. Well, I don't know what to say, but basically it's not difficult. You have no rush for the whole process. I think I like this size. It's pretty much good. Now remember, we are going to go back to our frying pan, and we turn everything in low heat. So when we cook things, better do things in low heat. I love it because I don't want to cook things in a rush. Now just put in your olive oil, your lovely olive oil, into the pan in a low heat. Now a little bit of trick here is I am going to put some Japanese sesame oil, because they are releasing wonderful aroma, and you will never forget it. Trust me. Just get a bottle of Japanese sesame oil, and you won't be too wrong, because that's going to release a very distinctive kind of like taste for the whole meal, for the whole dish. So after the oil is getting heated, just take away some of the chili, because I don't want to make my rice to be so hot and spicy. So I take at least like half of the chili, because the chili has been releasing the fragrance that I wanted. So I can just like take away some of those red stuff, and that's going to be enough. Now look, here I have the oil absorbing the garlic and the chili, and the oil is going to be very, very tasty and with all those aroma. Now I just toast it a bit, and what I'm going to do is, remember I have the lobster, I just pour in the sizzling oil and garlic and chili on top of my lobster, So leave a bit of garlic behind on the pan, because that's how we start to do the rice now. So before doing it, do not turn off the stove. Just keep the stove on and put in your cooking oil. You can put a little bit more, it's totally up to you. But here I have put in enough oil that get around the bottom of my pan, and to start pouring in the rice that I wanted. You don't need to wash your rice, because most of those rice are going through the head cap process, which are totally safe to eat or to cook without going under the water to rewash it. So I'm going to stir a bit just to allow the fragrant oil to cover my rice properly. So you just do it, stir it nicely and no rush, and make it slow. You're fine. Now the next step is I'm going to put some liquid in it. So I'm going to put in, first of all, the tomato sauce. The tomato sauce is not salted, so if you like, you can put a bit of salt for the taste. But for me, I don't like things to be too salty, so I just make it very, very mild. And don't forget, last night I have done the lobster juice or lobster soup from my lobster. So I would like to put in the liquid into my rice to increase the body of this dish. So I'm going to stir everything in nicely. But for you, you might want to put in your herbs, or maybe some salt, or maybe some black pepper. Well, it's always okay. Just do it in your own way and make it your own dish. But for me, I'm fine to make it mild with less fragrance in it. So just make it mellow. Stir it nicely. Okay, I like it well mixed already. But if you do want to have more tomato sauce, just go ahead. But you don't try to make it too watery. I think it's fine. Now remember, I have some of those fingers from the lobster, so I put in a few fingers just to coat it and to allow it to release more fragrance from the lobster shell. And I cover it up with a piece of foil and tuck it into the oven on high heat, 220 degrees Celsius, for around like 20 minutes. Now after 20 minutes, I bring it out and I take away the lobster fingers from here, because now these fingers you can still save it for doing the lobster bisque later on. So just take out all those fingers first, because we are going to do the next step. All right, it's all clear up. Now I have some fresh tomatoes, and as I say, this is an Italian style, so tomatoes is very, very important. So I put as many tomatoes as I wanted. I wanted to cover my pan nicely. I want more, but Italian might want to take away those liquid, but I don't care. I just want to increase the moisture on my dish, so I just leave it and just put these slices of tomato in it. So looks good, isn't it? But I want to put in more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the tomato paste, just to give it a bit of taste, a bit of sweet and sour taste in it. But it's very mellow, don't worry about it. And again, the lobster juice is going to be very helpful. So I just put in more lobster juice to avoid the rice being too dry, because we are going to tuck it into the oven again. Now here I go with all those oil and the lobster mixed, and I put it back to my pan of rice. So I will have all those oil getting into the mix. But I really want to eat it, but yeah, be patient for extra 10 minutes. You'll be fine. Alright, if you feel good, look nice. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover it with the foil. Or this time I put a little bit more of the moisture, the lobster juice into it. Okay, well done. So I'm going to cover it with the foil again and to tuck it into the oven for another 10 minutes. So it's done. Alright. So when you see it, sounds like, oh, okay, why it's so dry? Now don't worry about it, because all the liquid that we put in are all at the bottom, sunk into the bottom, so the bottom is very tasty. So what I'm going to do before you serve, you just get a big spoon. Get a big spoon, ready? And to toast the whole thing a bit. So here, I have my spoon. See at the bottom, see the liquid, so moist. And it's not sticky at all. I will have all those moisture, toasting them up, and to mix it with the chunks of lobster meat. See how beautiful it is. Of course you can add some salt for taste, or black pepper or whatever, but I'm fine with it. And the taste is quite nice, and so you can go with your wine. See how beautiful it is? Bon appetit, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye bye.